What's going on, everyone? So LeBron James is out tonight's game and is likely going to miss several games. So the Lakers have began workouts for several free agents to see if any of them can come in a pinch for LeBron James. Per Shams, I'm told the expectations is James will be out the next two Laker games. The Lakers also recently held free agent workouts with Joe Wieskamp and Tony Snell. NBA insider Shams has the latest on LeBron James' status and the Lakers. Now, Joe Wieskamp, he was an Iowa player, shot 41.2% over the 3 years in Iowa. But he was the second round draft pick for the San Antonio Spurs and was only 14 of 43 from three before the team ended up cutting him, which is still 32.6%, and that would make him the third best shooter to play more than 60 minutes in total this year for the Lakers. He's 6'6", and a guy that hopefully, theoretically, can come in and be a solid 3-and-D shooter, or at least a shooter, kind of like a Matt Ryan 2.0. Hopefully, that's kind of what the Lakers are looking at with him. Again, these guys are very likely just going to be, Exhibit 10 contracts. These are just going to be little come in, help out. Let's see if, you have like an incredible, showcase and display that maybe we'll keep you on because I believe they can do that up to several times. So, they could have him come in if he's great and then eventually find a spot for him. Like, let's say Wieskamp shoots like 40% from three with the Lakers while he's doing he plays 3 games or whatever. They give him another one. He does it again. Then maybe they look to get rid of like a Winning Gabriel or somebody like that to bring him in and provide some 3-point shooting. Now you got him and Matt Ryan. Maybe you can run the two of them. And now you provide some 3-point shooting for the Lakers. That's kind of, I guess, the hope here. Now, the other player that many people want to see is Tony Snell. Tony Snell is somebody that I've seen in my comment sections many times. People are like, why don't they take a look at Tony Snell? Now, the problem with Tony Snell is that he's just so inconsistent. Now, he is 6'7". He does have a 7-foot wingspan. He has always been known as a 3 with the D, but not the, not the 3-point shooting, right? He's always been that small forward that can, provide excellent defense, but not going to give you much on the scoring side. For example, the lack of consistency goes like this. Tony Snell will play 28 minutes and put zeros across the board. 0 points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, you name it. And then you'll have another game where he puts up 24 points and he's 9-9 from the field, 6-6 from three, and has a perfect game. He's also the only player in history to have a 50, 50, and 100% season from, shooting from the field, 56% from three, and then 100% and like 100 attempts from the free throw line. So he's an anomaly. Like, you don't know what you're going to get with Tony Snell, and at age 31, that becomes a bit of a problem. It's like, yeah, he might come out and give you, 15 one night, and then the next night he might give you nothing. Like, no rebounds, no assists, no nothing, right? And that is an issue. That's something that the Lakers can't afford. Like, if the Lakers had, like, a great team, right? Like, let's say that they were just stacked. Yeah, and we were just, it was like, hey, we could use another, 6'7" wing with some defense. Like, let's bring Tony Snell in, then fine, that's great. But, like, if he comes in and he's essentially unplayable, that doesn't really help. And I think that that's the issue with Tony Snell, and I think that that's why he doesn't have a roster spot on some team, because you think 6'7", 7-foot wingspan, he's still only 31, so he's not that old. Like, he's still, like, in his prime. So why wouldn't you bring him in? Why doesn't he have a spot on a roster somewhere, especially in today's NBA where, like, these type of guys are, like, coveted? And it's because he's a 6-point-a-game guy who is just super inconsistent. He's the only player in NBA history to have that stat line of 50, 50, and 100, and still, for his career, only averages 6 points per game. That's the problem. That's where that lies. And the Lakers' problem hasn't really been, other than the last, 2 games, yes, it has, but for the most part this season, their issue hasn't been defense. Their issue's been scoring, right? They can't really score the ball, and if you're going to lose LeBron James, you need somebody that can provide some scoring, right? Anything. And I don't know if Tony Snell could do that. Now, maybe we get lucky and we bring him in and he goes on a hot run, right, for like a couple games while LeBron's out. Maybe he gives us 24 during that stretch and shoots, 50% from three, and maybe we give him another, extension and just see what he could do. And then maybe if it works out, maybe you get rid of Winion and bring him in, because I don't see them getting rid of Matt Ryan. Right, he's like literally the only three-point shooter we have. Unless a trade comes, then maybe you get rid of Matt Ryan and have Snell if Snell becomes more of a need at that point. But I don't really see Tony Snell as like somebody that's going to come in and really have an impact. Now, hopefully, the I guess hope and optimistic perspective would be that like he comes in and is like our Stanley Johnson, right? Like last year, like Stanley Johnson came in and he was great for us, so much so that he earned a roster spot. That could be something that they look at. But in reality, I don't think he's the answer. I don't think Joe Wieskamp is the answer either. Maybe he can kind of give us a better shooting. I mean, he shot 32%. If he can get up to like 36, 37%, then maybe it's worth bringing him on and having a look for him. That's something that could help. They also worked out Mo Harkless a while back. Mo Harkless has kind of been linked to the Lakers on several occasions. I personally would rather go with Mo Harkless if you're gonna like over Wieskamp and Snell, just because at least Mo Harkless, one, he's younger, two, he's not younger than Wieskamp. Wieskamp's only 23, but he's still younger than Snell, and he's also a guy that is bigger. He's just a bigger body, a bigger wing that could play the 3, he could play the 4, maybe in some cases he could even play the 5. He still has a 7-foot wingspan, so he's just a bigger, bulkier guy, and he's been known for his defense just like Tony Snell, but he's at least a little more consistent for his career. I mean, he doesn't have like the, perfection games that Tony Snell has, but at least you kind of know what you're going to get with Mo Harkless. You're going to get that like hard-nosed defender who, he's very streaky when it comes to shooting, but hopefully you could catch him on the positive streak while LeBron's out. I think if you're going to give anybody a shot between the three, it would be Mo Harkless. I just think Mo Harkless has the potential to have a bigger impact. I think if you're betting on anybody to be our new like Stanley Johnson type player, Mo Harkless is that. I think he's a guy that can play multiple positions, can guard multiple positions, is a little more consistent from three-point range than Snell is. Also, he's going to be better defensively, and he's just bigger than Wieskamp is. So I think it just comes down to, like, what are the Lakers looking for? Are they looking for somebody that can kind of come in and be the 3? Like, and actually knock down some three-point shots? Then I think you go with Wieskamp. If you want some, like, a defender that maybe can knock down some threes here and there, I think you'd go with Mo Harkless. Maybe take a look at Snell, but I think Harkless would be the better fit, in my opinion, better option. So I would rather them go with Harkless. But, I mean, regardless, these two guys, I don't think any of these guys are going to be a problem solver. Again, I think you're hoping that one of these guys can come in and, maybe light it up and give us like a great stretch and maybe earn a roster spot. That's something that always could happen. We've seen players have great stretches before. I mean, Matt Ryan, look at Matt Ryan. Like, he was just a guy that they brought in just to bring in to just like help with training camp. He ended up having a great run and ended up making a roster spot and hit a game winner for the Lakers. So it's not unfathomable to think that like maybe one of these guys could come in. If you were going to bring anybody in, I'd probably bring in Wieskamp, just because, one, he's 23 years old, so he's younger. He did shoot 41.2% from 3 in college, 32% so far in the pros, but, maybe he could kind of get back into it and start knocking down some more shots, especially if we can get him some good looks and stuff like that. I just think the potential for Wieskamp is greater. Right? I mean, you're probably not going to get the defense because he was more known of like just being a great shooter rather than like a defender with shooting. But we need shooting more than anything. That's I think is our biggest need. So if you were to bring any of them in, I would probably bring in Wieskamp or Mo Harkless. I know a lot of people really like Tony Snell and really want to see Tony Snell get a shot, just from what I've seen in the comment sections and stuff over the last several months. But I feel like he's just way too inconsistent to bring in. because the problem is I think he's going to disappoint a lot of fans. Because let's say he comes in and he has a great game and he puts up like 17 points on like, whatever, 5 or 6 shooting or something like that. Right? It's like, man, dude looks great. Dude looks good. Like, this is why, he's a guy that earns a spot. And then the next like 3 games, he gives us like 2 points. And it's like, it's just going to be a roller coaster ride with him where I feel like if we're going to bring somebody in to give him a shot, we need somebody like who can give us the most consistency and who has the most potential for growth and like actually becoming a proper rotation guy. And I think Wieskamp is that guy. I think he's a guy that, if he can kind of get his shooting stroke down properly, I think he could really make an impact and really like help this Lakers team who is desperate for shooting. We already found a gem in Matt Ryan. If we can find a gem in Wieskamp, then there you go. Now you have 2 shooters. Hopefully at least always one of them are at least hitting shots. Because everyone has good games, everyone has bad games, right? But like consistency is like the key. Like that's what's important. And hopefully if we could get a guy like Wieskamp in and you have Matt Ryan, hopefully they're both, the games that they're both on fire, great. We probably win those games. And then the other games, hopefully at least one of them is hitting. So that way, at least you have that 3-point shooter. And worst case, you have those threats, right? If you have 2 guys on the team that now, can create some spacing, that could really be beneficial for like LeBron Davis, Russell Westbrook, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't think either of these players really are going to help, if I'm being honest. I think if you're trying to just bring somebody in for like a 10-day while LeBron's out, I still think Mo Harkless is the guy. I think you bring in Mo Harkless. I think he could give you the defense. You're not going to get the shooting, but maybe he can find some spark. I think realistically, you're bringing him in to just play. Because any of these guys you bring in, you're probably not bringing them in to play heavy minutes. Probably bringing them in to play 10 minutes a game at most. So I would rather have like the guy with the biggest size and the best defense to come in and do that, because at least worst case, he's never unplayable. At least worst case, he can play solid defense and, guard multiple positions and play multiple positions. So personally, I would rather them bring in Mo Harkless than these 2 guys. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Would you bring in any of these guys? Would you bring in Wieskamp? Would you bring in Snell? Would you bring in Harkless? Again, these are probably just going to be, 10-day little contracts like, hey, you're just coming in until LeBron's out. But, that was supposed to be the deal with Stanley Johnson, and he ended up earning a roster spot. So maybe one of these guys could come in, make a real impact, be really solid. You never know. But anyway, again, however you feel, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Let me know down in the comment section below.